All right, guys, over here we saw I Know What You Did Last Summer, the 2025 version with cameos galore. And oh boy, this is going to be spoiler-ish. It's Amanda and Joan. I'm in fact going to call this spoiler alert in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Spoiler alert, I Know What You Did Last Summer, because there are moments that if you don't want to know and you want to be surprised, mind you, there is one moment that I'm thinking of, and maybe you know what I'm talking about.
I already said probably the moment you're thinking of on Monday when I was talking about how I was the only person in the theater who reacted to it. And it was the first time in a while that I really felt old.
Okay, so really? Because they didn't know who they were?
Through all of this. But really quickly, I'm going to give you a little new spoiler. At the Landmark Cinemas in Calgary, there's now a new policy where you can't bring in food or you can't bring in... They actually checked my bags. And we had just finished saying... Oh, that's a myth for all the year of me movie going. So I bought all this shit. I was so excited because I'm taking my teen cousin, and I'm like,
I'm going to throw it away.
No, they just made us go back to my car. But the girl looked like she was going to throw up. She was so nervous about asking me. I could, because as we approached, she was like,
"Well, then they should have just let you."
I know.
I literally will carry stuff into the theater when I go.
I just didn't want to cause it. I'm like, what am I going to do? Throw a big fit now and like ruin like this? I'm taking my cousin out, whatever.
Carrying out, babe.
Throw out more money. I'm like, what do you want, kid? What do you want? So anyway, we did see this. It was just us in the theater. One single dude who looked my age, and then like a woman and her daughter, and both of them had no reaction. It was as if we were the only ones in the theater.
I went and when I went, there were two couples that were like on a double date, and it was them and me in the theater. And they laugh. Like, we actually started laughing because this movie does hit a point where it's kind of like,
yeah, but then you know what's funny is that afterward, like my cousin was scared a lot. And then afterward, I was like, that was so corny. And they're like, oh, yeah, like kind of playing up like they weren't scared. But then they did say like, no, I mean, there were a few parts that were a little bad. I'm like, oh, should I have not taken you to this?
In retrospect, afterwards, I went back home and I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And there is a big difference in the way that they show the parts in these movies. I hated in this 2025 version the way that they would scare you was literally just to absolutely have a scream, a car screeching, and like a crazy flash of like something where you're like, holy fuck.
There's nothing surprising or they really lead it, like they let you know that a jump scare is coming by
completely. Well, because the music like da-da-da-da-da, and then it goes silent and then it attacks you. And in fact, the ultimate, like in the original one, it's that they are all driving down the road around this mountain. Ryan Phillippe is out the roof of the car and they hit a person in the road. This version, they are standing on the side of the road. One of their friends is being a dick in the middle of the road. And then a car almost hits him. Okay. And there's a big buildup to him almost getting hit. And then you're like, oh my God, woo, thank God. And then he stands there for half a second. And then out of nowhere, it's like, ah! And it's him almost getting hit. And then the car running off the side and then like falling into the ocean.
That was the one scary part where I was like, what? Because when it's like teetering off the edge, that was scary.
Yeah.
Do we ever find out who that person was?
We do, because ultimately what happens in the original movie too is that the person who's doing all the killing is a person who's like getting revenge because they killed someone associated.
And actually the way that, because I went straight home, it's on Netflix, and turned on the original movie, and I was like, I'm not crazy. It used to be better. The acting used to be better.
The original one?
The face cards were way better.
I remember back in the day, the original one being kind of not considered as good back in the day. I think over time it has built cult status, and I mean, I think it's great. The casting is great. The acting is great.
Like it is, right? Or is it just us growing up with that? But I'm like, it's seems more of better.
A movie. It's a movie.
It is more
this
movie. And
was giving me Amazon Prime straight to streaming TV show.
Sure, but listen to this. my cousin knew every one of those people. She's like, they're like, that's this person is in this show, this, and I'm like, so these were those celebrities, and this was Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar for this current generation. I've never seen any of them before in my life.
I just think Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt have way more magnetism in the first movie than anyone had in this one. And you know what I think it is? I'm going to say it. Constant controversial opinion. It's the face work.
I agree with that, though. This is what made me agree with that, because they're all in their early mid-20s. I looked up all their ages. They're all about ish 25. But yeah, the main girl who looks like Sydney Sweeney, I thought she was pretty good.
She was fine, but and again, I'm not judging, but I do think we will go later down the road and people look back at photos of themselves and be like, what? Because she had a lot of scenes where she was like makeupless because her life she's had all this, she has crazy shit happen to her, and she's constantly like in bed being like,
but also fine with it though. Her fiance just got brutally murdered, and the next scene she's like, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'm like, are you not like traumatized for like the rest of your life? There was
a big lack of like worry throughout this movie
at all,
where like her man is murdered while she is at home. She goes to his body, sees him like all splayed up and shit, and it says, I know, or you're next or something. And her reaction is just,
it was very strange.
It's not like, I think though that is something I bitch about movies now too. A lot is the acting in general of there's like no reaction. It's like the craziest shit will be happening around a person and they have a dead face reaction. I don't know if it's the Botox or I don't know what it is, but I looked back and you know what I thought? Sarah Michelle Gellar, who is considered gorgeous back in her time, she looked a lot more like a person than like the gorgeous one in this one, where, and that kind of makes me sad because it is like the perception now of the beauty perception is that your lips need to be blown up and you have to have a smooth, shiny forehead with no wrinkles.
Even if you're 20. In the original, she's got like these kind of shitty bangs. Like she just kind of looks like, and then when she look, they're like, oh, you look like shit. She actually does look like shit.
She also, though, is stunningly gorgeous. But spoiler alert, guy. Maybe it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailers, right? She's in this movie. Freddie Prinze Jr. is in this movie. I thought he was bad. I thought she was really bad.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is also in it, which I was like,
okay, that was the big thing. And the thing too that I was like, I did sit up and was like, oh, but
I was like that when all of them showed up. Also, there's a lot of conversation surrounding what a fat pig Jennifer Love Hewitt has now become. That's all I'm saying online is how fat she got.
I thought with Sarah Michelle Gellar appearing, it definitely felt shoehorned in. And then ultimately, guys, Freddie Prinze Jr. is the killer, one of the killers, and here's his reasoning. People were forgetting about us, and we need them to remember us. What? So you're going to then become a serial killer? You were the good guy in the first movie. You were the good guy! And you've now paired up with about you.
He was like a mentor to Stevie, who was also the killer, who was good. She was really good. When she had her little mental breakdown at the end, where she was explaining to them why she did it, I was like, this is good acting.
But the lead up to all of here's the rundown quickly of the movie is
now I remember who the guy is. Okay, got it.
The one girl's getting married to this douchey jock type dude, okay? And it's, of course, 4th of July weekend. It's their engagement party. They leave the engagement party to go watch the fireworks on the best place. But before they leave the engagement party, they see this girl, Stevie, who they used to be friends with a long time ago.
We don't really get into a lot of details about it. They could have given us more with that, but I guess
it's very shoehorned in again because Stevie happens to work at this venue and she's loading the car and then
she's more poor than the rest of them. Oh, the house porn in this was very good, I thought.
It was incredible, but also so I was like, Okay, so everyone in this movie are billionaires? They literally
Like,
lived in homes that had
not
to have cost.
millionaires.
No, these
Not
homes
millionaires.
cost at least $10 million. At least. They are palatial estates. Even the place where the lead girl, who had to have been 22, and her new husband were living, was a $5 million home with those doors that open all the way open to walk out to the pool that leads out. It's like, huh? No one could be in an apartment somewhere?
I mean, I enjoyed when we were at the house, though, because I'm like,
so did I. So did I. I'm like, I'll live here in a moment. But that did, again, the first movie felt more authentic. The first movie takes place on the 4th of July weekend of this thing that happening. This one is like, though they did subvert my expectations a couple times, because this thing happens where the guy falls off the cliff, this, that, and the other. And then it's like a year later.
Boyfriend, right? It was her boyfriend.
I don't think it was her rehab or something. See, I thought it was the religious leader or something.
Oh, no, I think it was like a guy she was dating that she met in like rehab. And then he gonna kill himself.
The movie doesn't make any sense, because Stevie would know whose truck that is. She would know who's in that truck. And when it ends up hitting the barrier and is falling off and they're trying to save the person, you're telling me she would be just like, oh, let's save this truck. I have no idea who it is. I have no idea who's in it.
Did she indicate at the end she did know that was him and that they should have gone down and saved him?
She did. She indicates it later, but again, what? Just saying you thought that doesn't make sense.
I always thought it was impressive in the first movie how well they explained what happened. Because in the first movie, at the end, they say, so we actually didn't kill anyone. And it was a really good bait and switch that the person that the very beginning of the movie, it shows a guy about to kill himself, but you don't know that he's just sitting on the edge of the cliff. So that's the body they find.
In the original one, I thought, or maybe this happens in the second one, it's that those were two different people.
It was. So that person killed, that's the body that they end up finding. Then that's the dad. The dad was going to visit the area where the sun's
yes.
And they run over so the guy's getting revenge just on them trying to
kill him, basically.
Yeah. But there was a body that was found, and that was the guy that killed himself.
The first one has their scare tactics are done much better than this one. Again, like I said, it just, the way this one would be is like, the way they would scare you is, and for me, I don't like a scary movie that just is startling you, and that's what this was.
No,
it was like,
neither.
You're just, nothing had happened, and then like Jennifer Love Hewitt would be standing there, and then she would get a flashback to a memory, and it would be the most abrasive cut to a thing, and you're like, Jesus Christ. I literally was like, oh, at one point. It's just very dramatic, but I'm like, do we need to intersperse the cuts that way? Overall, then Freddie Prinze Jr. was really bad. I also thought Sarah Michelle Gellar was fine, but like, you shoehorned her into this because she dies in the original one. You have her come back giving advice. It's like,
yeah, she was like, it was like in a dream sequence. But this is what I said to Jody on Monday. But I went during the little very, very corny fan service parts, like when this is the part that I thought was a spoiler, but when Jennifer Love Hewitt says, "What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?" I groaned. I honestly groaned. That
and the double date people laughed. Like there were moments we audibly laughed out loud, especially
my cousin had no idea. Like when Jennifer Love Hewitt showed up and when Freddie Prinze Jr. showed up, I gasped. I was like, oh, no reaction from anyone else in the theater. So these fan service things are happening. And then the part where the guy is dying and he sees his mom on the phone and he's like, Mom. And it's like a Scream reference, obviously, that part. You know?
Oh, yeah.
There's that moments like that. So in my head, I'm thinking, God, these are so corny, but I shouldn't be so cynical because the people that's made for are going to eat it up. And then I realized I'm who it's made for. I am the audience. I am the person that saw the original in the theaters. I should be eating it up. And even I was like, this is some corny shit.
Because it ended up being not that great, unfortunately. I think the story got really convoluted to a point. And in general, I don't know that I cared much about the characters.
I didn't, and I did like that podcast girl. She was very funny.
Okay, I recognize her because she's this person named Gabriette. She is in that song, that that Charlie XCX song where she's like, I can't remember how she's included, but
I won't know the reference.
I recognized her because of her like pencil thin eyebrows, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is she doing here? And then she appears and then is there for a little bit and then gets killed. It's like,
and I thought that was kind of giving away the ending, because when she gets killed, she pulls off the mask and she goes, "You," and she's a true crime podcaster. So to me, that immediately it immediately shows you that it's somebody from the original story, because she recognizes this person.
Oh.
She's into this town, she's looking around, so it was obviously somebody that from the story.
I though have to wonder, like, why kill her? Like, that's where this movie didn't make a lot of sense in that way of like, well, I also think I Still Know What You Did Last Summer really veered. That is Jack Black in it, by the way.
What? And I know
they go on a trip to the Bahamas in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I've never seen that one.
And Jack Black plays a character at the resort at the Bahamas. He has white guy dreads, and he's like, "You guys want to buy some weed and stuff?" Like, that movie is weird. But again,
should I see it or no? Because here's a spoiler. Everyone was saying you need to stay for this mid-credits season thing. By the way, everyone said end credits. So we sat, this credit thing happens a minute into the thing. And then me and Astor were like, should we hang around to the end? So we did with this one other guy. And then it was just over. And we're like, well, all right.
If you don't want to be spoiled about what happens 1 minute into the credits, turn this off now. Brandy appears.
Yeah, which I'm like, am I supposed to be gagged by that? It's not like she's like hard to get.
She's in the second one.
Well, I know that, but am I supposed to be shocked that they got Brandy somehow?
I think the idea of that people are supposed to be like, oh, Julie and I can't remember what her name in the movie is, are still friends. And because Julie, who is Jennifer Love Hewitt, she at the end of the movie is like, fuck, crazy shit, man. And then she runs off to be like, the killer's back, and they're whatever.
Yeah, Brandy's like, who are we gonna fuck up this time? And Jennifer Love Hewitt's like, I was hoping you'd say that. So honestly, though, if there is another movie with just the older people now, I'll go see that. I don't need the young kids in it.
I just think, they're going to take this movie and they're gonna ring it.
Because they had, you know what was jarring was at the end, the one girl gets stabbed in the fucking stomach and chest, falls off the boat, and then I guess lives. Then there's a smash cut to the one girl who had a knife through her back for the whole last segment. Then them walking out of the hospital. One girl has her arm in a cast and the other one's fine. And there was nothing that said 6 months later. It looked the next day.
It's implied that they're out the next day and they're like, yeah, those drugs are really great. And it's like a comedic.
Right. And they're like, oh, did you know Stevie? By the way, Stevie's still alive. End credits. What? Has there been a passage of time? I mean, obviously there was obviously a passage of time.
Well, they're going to make another one. And what are the predictions of the next movie's title? Are they just going to do I Still Know What You Did Last Summer? I Know What You Did 2 summers ago or something.
Oh, no. Can't wait. But that said, it's a fun romp. And it's not that scary.
How many Cosmos would you give it?
Oh, Cosmos.
I'm going to give it
2 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2.5 Cosmos because I would watch it again, maybe. But you definitely need to, by the end, just start laughing at it because
Sure. It's kind of campy.
There's a switch in the movie, though, that it switches tone almost.
Kind of when the adult characters come out, that's kind of where the tone shifts, which I felt more comfortable there. And now it's almost a parody of itself.
It felt definitely like the new Halloween movies, where they would put Jamie Lee Curtis in it. You know, it's one of those. I'm sure they're going to do a trilogy.
Here's another reason to go. It's an hour and 40 minutes.
And really, there isn't a lot in theaters right now. Next week, though, guys, we're going to be doing Fantastic Four.
No, we're not, because I won't be able to see it by then.
Amanda's going to review Eddington, and I'm going to review Fantastic Four.
I feel like it works better when we both see the same movies, but we'll figure
You
it
need
out.
to go see it then, because it'll be the hot topic, and we need to know what happens with
I'm
Pedro's
taking my little
stretching
cousin.
cock.
Okay.
Oh.
I think you should just see Eddington.
You guys, this is the end. If you're a listener, we love you. If you're a watcher, hit subscribe, hit like. Check out our trilogy of videos, our Wednesday weekly Roundup trilogy of videos. And hit subscribe. Watch all of our other shit. Check us out on Friday for our live. Even if you don't watch it just like that, pop in, baby, and pop my cherry. I'm delusional now. We love you. Bye.
Bye.